Most people are using AI just for fun, but you can do way more with it and actually generate real revenue. Imagine becoming a manager, running your own autonomous AI team that gets work done for you. In the first two videos of this series, we broke down the theory of agentic AI. Now it's time to build. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to build a team of AI agents from scratch using the powerful Crew AI framework. We'll orchestrate a team to research a topic, write a blog post, and even create a social media ready post all on its own. We'll dive into the code and reveal how these AIs collaborate just like a human team. Get ready to follow along. This is where the theory becomes reality. If you're still using old FANG prep guides, you're already losing ground. The rules have changed, and this free AI playbook shows you what's really being tested in modern FANG interviews. Insider strategies, hidden evaluation matrix, a 90-day mastery plan. The exact playbook successful candidates are using right now. Everyone's grabbing it. Don't be the one left behind. Link in description.
So let's take a look at the Crew AI demo notebook, where we'll show how we can use agentic AI to research a topic, generate content associated with that topic, and get a social media ready post and a blog article. And the first things first that we do is install all the necessary libraries and the packages. So we'll be using OpenAI for accessing our LLM through the API. We'll be using Crew AI and Crew AI tools for essentially orchestrating our tasks and our agent and our crew. And we'll be using requests for just making general web-based API calls. So these are again just installing all of these packages that I mentioned above. The next thing that we will do is set up our imports and the OpenAI API key. Because we are accessing LLM, we need an API key associated with this particular LLM. So that is something which is unique to each particular user, and that is something that you can get from the OpenAI API website. I have my own personal key here, so in the Google Drive, which is why I have mounted the Google Drive and stored the OpenAI API key in this variable from this Google Drive. Once we have the API key, we can use that API key to set up our client or this chat client. In this particular case, we are using the model GPT-4o for our LLM. Next thing that we'll do is create these helper functions, which will enable us to define our agents, define our tools associated with the agents, and so on. So the first thing that we wanted to do is make a social media copy tool and also a post to the web tool. So a social media tool, essentially, we are essentially defining our custom function here. All that this function does is that it takes a title of a particular topic, the summary of a particular topic, which is a string, and the platform that you want to post it to, like LinkedIn or Twitter and so on. Once it has these three elements, it uses the LLM, in this particular case, a GPT-4o mini, to generate a prompt. So this function here itself generates a prompt, and the prompt is going to be something like a concise post promoting an article, and that post will essentially be on this particular platform that you pass. So in this case, if the default was LinkedIn, craft a concise LinkedIn post promoting an article. This is the title of the post, this is the summary of the post, and you want 1 to 2 punchy lines with clear 3 to 5 relevant hashtags and so on. And that's the string that this particular function will return. Similarly, you can have a tool or a custom function that posts your post to the platform that you have mentioned in the previous function. The next thing that you want to do is you want to import this base tool from Crew AI. Crew AI has a tools package from which you want to import the base tool, and there were some cases for me which didn't work. That's why there were some version dependencies and conflicts associated with the Google Colab Python version and the Crew AI's version, and so I had to try these imports multiple times. But long story short, essentially you want to import this base tool from Crew AI tools. Once you have the base tool, you can essentially make your own custom tools, and that's exactly what is happening here. I made a social media copy tool, which essentially the task of this tool is to call that function that I mentioned previously, which was this make social media copy function, and it calls this function with the title and the summary and the platform. So the description of this tool is just a tool that creates a platform optimized social media post and so on. Similarly, you have a tool that posts this information to the web, and these are just the instantiations of those classes that will pass to our Crew AI as a tool eventually. So remember, we wanted to have 3 agents, one researcher agent that researches a particular topic, one writer agent that writes an article based on a particular research topic, and then a social media agent that creates a social media ready post. So let's take a look at that. So one thing that AI has given you is an agent package. So you can directly, if you have installed Crew AI using pip install, you can directly import agent. And with this agent, you can create, with this agent module, you can create multiple agents, and each agent will take a role, a goal, and the backstory associated with that agent. So in this particular example, as I mentioned previously, we wanted to have 3 agents, a researcher, writer, and a social media agent. So let's create those 3 agents using Crew AI's agent import. So, and the agents will also have a large language model that they can use. So in this particular case, our first agent is a researcher who collects 5 up-to-date credible insights on a topic. The backstory associated with this agent is that it can find and synthesize resources, and it has access to this LLM, right? All of this information will be essentially generated into a cohesive prompt by Crew AI and then passed on to them. So all of that information is essentially abstracted away for you. Similarly, for a writer agent, the role is a writer. The goal of this agent is to write an article of like 600 to 900 words from the notes that are given to it in the prompt with a clear structure. And the backstory argument to this agent, essentially you can give what the persona of this agent is. If this agent was a human, what would that human be specialized in? So that's the backstory. Similarly, for the social media agent also, you have a social media strategist with essentially who is very expert in social media and social media usage, and takes your article and adapts that article into a social media ready prompt. And one of the key aspects of the social media agents is the tools, right? You're also giving this social media agent not just the role and the goal associated with it, but also this tool. So it can use a particular tool to make this social media copy, which is going to take that long article and condense that into a short social media summary, as we have discussed in this particular function here. So we passed this tool to our social media strategist, who is going to take the title, the summary, and the platform and generate that social media ready article using this prompt. So those are all the agents, the 3 agents that we wanted to create. And now let's create the tasks associated with the agent. So just like Crew AI has an agent that we imported, Crew AI also has tasks that we imported. So as you can see previously in here, we imported agent, we imported task, and we imported Crew. So those are the 3 key components as we saw in the lecture slides as well. So once we have defined the agent successfully, let's define the tasks associated with the agent. So our task 1 for the agent 1 researcher is that the agent should produce 5 concise insights with short citations. So we essentially give a description of the task on what we want to research. In this particular case, I have given it a topic: India and its GDP growth in the next decade from 2025 to 2035. Find 5 key insights with current developments, challenges, and opportunities. Include brief references to sources. The agent now, see, this task essentially takes an agent as an input or as an argument. And we have given the researcher agent that we created previously. This researcher agent is our input to the task. Similarly, we created a task for the writer, which takes the previous research topic as a context. This is the context, our task T1, and we took that context gave it even more information. Write a structured 250 to 300 word article from the research notes. And then the expected output is a markdown article with title, summary, paragraph, and well-structured sections. And finally, once our task 1 and task 2 are done by the researcher and the writer, we wanted to generate a social media post, right? And so here we are essentially giving again some description on what the post should look like and giving it the context. So the third task has the context of task 1 and task 2. The second task has the context of task 1, because we essentially want all of these agents to have a little bit of memory on what happened previously. And this is what I was saying, that you can have this sort of persistence where you are essentially giving a particular agent only that context which is relevant to this particular agent. If you are beginning afresh and as a first step there is no context really, then you need to pass in a context. Once you have all of these tasks, the next thing that you want to do is assemble all of these agents, right? So essentially you can do that using Crew package from Crew AI. So Crew essentially takes agents and tasks. So we have given it our 3 agents: researcher, writer, and a social media strategist agent. We have given it the tasks T1, T2, T3. Each of those tasks also have context associated with the previous task. So that is all abstracted away using this task package in Crew AI. And once you have this Crew, you can essentially just hit crew.kickoff and then print the result. And so as you can see here, once you do that, you will see all of these agents working in action. This output takes a little bit of time to run, but once it's done, you can see all of the output. Because we said verbose is equal to true, it's going to give you the intermediate output also. So you see, once the agent started, it gave the researcher essentially was given the task: research the topic India and its GDP growth in the next decade from 2025 to 2035. This is the prompt that we gave, right? And the agent came up with an answer where essentially it found some articles from the World Bank, some articles from NASCOM, Ministry of Commerce, Economic Times, and so on, some McKinsey report. We asked it for 5 references. It gave these 5 references. Then once this research was done based off of the information in these references, the writer agent took over and generated a 250 to 300 word article. And so the writer agent came up with a nice article about the GDP growth and in GDP growth of India in the next decade. And once all of this 250 to 300 word article was done writing, then the social media agent took over and created a social media ready post. And this is essentially your social media ready post. So those are the outputs associated with your entire Crew. And as you can see, all of these things were essentially done in a sequential manner, and you were able to specify which agent should go, which tasks are associated with which agent, and which task should have which context, and so on. And all of this was essentially done in an automated fashion. You didn't have to specify the structure of the graph that you have to do in line graph. All of the coding involved was very minimal. Essentially, most of the coding was associated with like just creating these custom tools, right? A lot of the code was just creating these custom tools that are very specific to your use case. But once you had the tools, when you came to just assembling the agents, the task, and the crews, that code was pretty. All of these details associated with that code was abstracted away from you in Crew AI. So, and that's the advantage of low code frameworks like Crew AI, where you don't need to specify the state of the graph, the state of the different abstractions that you want. You can essentially just follow this consistent syntax for agent, task, and crews, and essentially keep this syntax consistent and just change these different arguments based off of your needs. So that's all that I wanted to cover for the Crew AI demo.
If you like this video, you will love what I have to say next. The 14-week Agentic AI program at Interview Kickstart helps engineers build real career-ready skills. You'll work on 2 live projects with FANG instructors and leave with portfolio work that actually makes a difference in hiring. Over 20,000 tech professionals have already trained with Interview Kickstart, with many moving into roles paying $300,000 plus. Want to learn more? Join the free upcoming webinar, ask questions, meet the instructors, and see if it's a fit. Not ready yet? No problem. Start with the AI agent building videos here on the YouTube channel. We recommend this one. Either way, the key is to just get started.